everyone, and welcome back to RC Newbie to Track. So back this week with part 4 of the build series. No real updates this week. Just before I started this video, I did notice on the BRCA website that they're now taking 2020 memberships, so I'll definitely be looking into that. I haven't checked the club yet, but that's something I'll be doing over the next week or so. So let's get straight onto it. Page 11 and bag 5 assembly. These are the parts we're going to need for bag 5 assembly. But before we begin, let's have a closer look inside bag 5. So inside the bag you get the front and rear bulkheads, and you get the front and rear upper wishbone suspension arms, and all the screws you need for this part of the build. So let's have a look at step 1. Bag 5 assembly step 1 is building the front and rear bulkheads. So let's get started with that. Okay, that's the front built, now it's just onto the rear. No real dramas with that. The pins were a bit stiff, so I used a bit of grease on them, and that seemed to help out a little bit. Okay, there we go, that's the rear one built. So that's both bulkheads built with the wishbones attached. Now it's on to step 2. So bag 5 assembly step 2, and this is fitting the front and rear bulkheads that we've just built to the chassis. It also recommends that you unwind the ball sockets and turnbuckles, so we'll do that too. That's the front one fitted. Now we'll just take a look at the rear. That's the rear one on. Just a matter now of just unscrewing all the ball sockets from the turnbuckles, so we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, that's all the ball sockets loosened. Just use the tool that you get with the kit just to help me with that. So it's on to step 3. On to page 12, and this is step 3 of bag 5 assembly, and this is fitting the top deck to the chassis, and we'll be using screws from the small parts bag from bag 5. So let's get that done. So there we go, the top deck's on, and I've just left out that one screw because that's going to tie in nicely with the next bit of the build. So here's a close look at the front belt upgrade conversion kit. We first saw this back in the second part of the build series, I think it was. It was inside bag 2, I think. Now it's come to build it and fit it to the car. It attaches to the top deck, so that's why you get a slightly longer screw with the conversion kit. So let's get this built and fitted to the car. So what I'm doing here is something I've been doing throughout the build with the bearings. I had this oil left over from when I built the TT01, so I've just been adding a couple of drops as I go. So there we go, that's built and fitted to the car. It does say now in the manual it's a good time to adjust the tension of the belt, but I'm going to look into that. I've got it in my mind, I've read somewhere you're supposed to leave about 2mm worth of play in the belt, but I'm going to come back to that. If anyone knows, as always, please let me know in the comments. It's always greatly appreciated. And I'd like to give a big shout out to Daniel Fritz, who left me some good advice regarding the motor. In the second video, the motor video, I mentioned that the timing adjustment was set to 20 degrees, and I was thinking of adjusting it back to 0. But Daniel left me some great information about that. So thanks, Daniel, that's helped a lot. I'm definitely going to listen to what you said there. So that's it. Let's get on with bag 6 and on to page 13. So this is everything we're going to need for this stage of the build. Let's take a closer look inside bag 6. Inside the bag you get the 4 hub carriers, you get the 4 drive shafts. They're all the same length, there's no difference between the front and the rear ones. You get the front and rear turnbuckles with the sockets for those. You get an Allen key, and you get all the ball studs for this part of the build. So let's crack on, let's have a look at the first few stages. So this stage is fitting the bearings to the hub carriers. In the manual these are all listed as individual stages. What I'm going to do is put them all together at the same time. So let's get on with steps 1 to 4. So that's all 4 of them built, and that's steps 1 to 4 done. Just added a bit of grease to the ball studs and also added some of the oil I was talking about to the bearings. So on to page 14 and step 5. Step 5 is fitting the driveshafts and the hub carriers to the front and lower wishbones. So that's all 4 fitted to the car: the front left, the front right, the rear left and the rear right. They all went together fine, no problems there whatsoever. So now it's on to page 15 and step 6. Okay, we're on to step 6, and this is building the Trackrods. Going to be using the tool from the kit just to grip onto the turnbuckle while we screw on the ball sockets. It recommends to screw them so there's no thread showing, and then undo them to the desired length. So we'll be doing that. Also keep an eye out for the left and right handed threads. Let's get these built. So that's all 4 of the Trackrods built. Use the micrometer again for this stage of the build. The 2 front ones have to have a distance of 6.5mm between the 2 ball sockets, and the rear ones have a distance of 22.75. So that's all done. On to step 7. So on to step 7, and it's just fitting the Trackrods to the car. The 2 rear ones require O-rings, but we'll take a look at the front ones first. So that is the front left one on. Just got to be careful when you're putting these on that you keep the left hand side of the thread facing towards the left of the car. And that's the right one fitted. So let's have a look at the back. So the back ones have these little O-rings that need to be fitted, so let's get these on. That's both the rear ones on. So that's step 7 complete. And that is step 4 of the build series finished. So that's it, thanks for watching. Getting close to the end of the build series now, only 2 stages left. The next stage will be finish building the kit, and then the 6th and final stage is installing all the electronics into the car to get it powered up. Next week we'll be cracking on with the body shell video, so we'll be starting to spray that. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time on RC Newbie to Track.